The massive ship of Commander Zarthak moved slowly through the darkness of space. Its shadow fell across Earth's moon as 20 more ships followed behind. Zarthak stood tall on his command bridge, his scaled skin reflecting the blue glow of the control panels. He had conquered 17 worlds for the Kelveri Dominion. Earth would be the 18th. Status report, Zarthak demanded, his 4 eyes blinking in sequence. Sub-Commander Vextra approached with a datapad. Earth defenses are as expected, Commander. Primitive weapon systems. Limited space presence. Their technology is at least 3 generations behind ours. Zarthak made a sound that might have been a laugh. As with all the others, they resist until they see our power, then they surrender. There is one note of interest, Vextra added. Humans seem unusually creative in their problem-solving. Intelligence suggests caution. Zarthak waved a clawed hand dismissively. Creativity matters little against our weapons. The command ship entered Earth orbit. Below, the blue planet spun peacefully, unaware that its fate was being decided above. Open communications, Zarthak ordered. Let us give them our standard greeting. The large screen at the front of the bridge flickered to life. After a moment, it showed a room with several humans seated at a long table. At the center sat a gray-haired man with stern eyes and a woman with dark skin and a serious expression. I am Admiral William Carter of Earth's United Defense Coalition, the man said. With me is Chief Diplomat Lisa Summers. We are receiving your transmission. Zarthak stepped forward. I am Commander Zarthak of the Kelveri Dominion. Your world now falls under our protection. Your resources are ours by right of conquest. Your people will serve the Dominion. Resistance has proven futile for 17 worlds before you. Submit now, and your deaths will be minimal. The humans didn't look surprised or frightened. This was unusual. Most species trembled when they saw the Kelveri fleet. Admiral Carter leaned forward. Commander, we understand your position. However, Earth is home to over 8 billion people with many different governments and leaders. We request 72 hours to discuss your terms with all major world powers. Zarthak blinked in confusion. This was not the response he expected. Usually there was begging or immediate surrender. This is not a negotiation, he growled. You will submit. Lisa Summers spoke next. We understand, Commander. We're not asking to negotiate terms, merely for time to properly organize our surrender. Surely 3 days is reasonable to avoid unnecessary bloodshed. Vextra moved closer to Zarthak. Commander, this could be a delay tactic. To what end? Zarthak replied quietly. Their weapons cannot harm our ships. Let them have their time. It will change nothing. He turned back to the screen. You have 72 hours to prepare your world for Kelveri rule. When I return, I expect immediate surrender. Thank you, Commander, Admiral Carter said with a nod. We will be ready with our response in 72 hours. The screen went dark. Zarthak turned to his crew. Move the fleet to the dark side of their moon. Monitor all communications and movement. If they attempt to evacuate leaders or build weapons, we attack immediately. As the crew carried out his orders, Vextra approached again. Commander, something feels wrong. No species has ever asked for time before. Zarthak walked to the large window overlooking Earth. They are simply accepting their fate in their own way. What can they possibly do in 3 days that they couldn't do in 3 years? Their defeat is certain. As the Kelveri fleet moved behind the moon, no one noticed the small, unmarked shuttle that left Earth's atmosphere, heading toward a hidden base on the lunar surface, where Dr. Samantha Powell and Colonel Richard Bennett were about to change the course of human history. The secret lunar base hummed with activity. The facility, built inside a crater on the far side of the moon, was hidden from both Earth and the Kelveri fleet. Dr. Samantha Powell hunched over a workstation, her tired eyes fixed on complex equations that filled the screen. Any progress? Asked Colonel Richard Bennett as he entered the lab. His uniform was wrinkled from days without rest. Samantha pushed her glasses up. I think I found something. Their shield technology operates on a quantum frequency we can disrupt. She pointed to a section of her calculations. If we can build a device to emit this counter frequency, we might be able to create temporary gaps in their defenses. Colonel Bennett nodded. How quickly can you build a prototype? That's the problem. We need specialized equipment that's only available at the Rocky Mountain facility. Bennett reached for a communications device. I'll contact Jack and Olivia. They can start working on this from their end. Thousands of miles below, deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, engineers Jack Harlow and Olivia Mitchell received the transmission. Their underground lab was one of Earth's most secret facilities. So we need to build a quantum field disruptor based on these specs, Jack said, examining the data sent from the moon. Olivia was already moving toward their equipment storage. We have most of what we need, but we'll have to modify the particle accelerator. She paused. This is a long shot, isn't it? Jack managed a smile. Long shots are all we have left. As humans prepared in secret, Commander Zarthak grew restless on his ship. The deadline was approaching, and his officers had detected unusual energy readings from Earth. What are they doing? He asked, staring at the planet through his viewing window. Vextra reviewed the data on her screen. There appears to be increased activity around their military bases, and we've detected unusual energy signatures near their moon. The moon? Zarthak turned sharply. Show me. The screen displayed thermal readings of the lunar surface. Nothing seemed unusual at first, but then a small heat signature appeared briefly before disappearing. It could be a sensor malfunction, Vextra suggested. Or it could be humans hiding something. Zarthak countered. Send a scout ship to investigate. The small Kelveri scout ship approached the dark side of the moon. Inside the lunar base, alarms sounded. We've got company, Bennett warned. Everyone to your stations. Activate the cloaking shield. The base disappeared from sensors just as the scout ship flew overhead. After circling twice and finding nothing, it returned to the fleet. Nothing to report, Commander. The scout pilot informed Zarthak. The moon appears uninhabited. Zarthak wasn't convinced, but he had bigger concerns. The deadline was almost up. As the 72-hour mark approached, Admiral Carter and Lisa Summers requested another communication with the Kelveri commander. Your time is up, Zarthak said when their faces appeared on his screen. What is your answer? Admiral Carter's expression was solemn. Commander Zarthak, on behalf of Earth, I must inform you that we cannot accept your terms of surrender. Zarthak's four eyes widened. Then you choose destruction. We choose freedom, Lisa Summers replied calmly. Furious, Zarthak ended the transmission. Prepare all weapons. Begin the attack. The Kelveri fleet moved into position, their weapons charging. But suddenly, a series of small ships launched from Earth, heading directly toward them. What are they doing? Vextra asked in disbelief. Their ships are too small to damage us. The human vessels, nimble and fast, darted between the massive Kelveri warships. Suddenly, 3 of them exploded near one of the alien ships, creating an unusual energy field. The Kelveri ship shields flickered and failed in one section. More human ships targeted the weak point, and to everyone's shock, the Kelveri vessel exploded. On his command bridge, Zarthak watched in stunned silence as 2 more of his ships suffered the same fate before the human vessels retreated. Impossible, he whispered. No species has ever destroyed a Kelveri warship. For the first time in his long military career, Commander Zarthak felt something new, doubt. Commander Zarthak paced the bridge of his ship. His claws clicked against the metal floor. 3 ships lost. It was unthinkable. Target their major military bases, he ordered, his voice low and dangerous. Show them the price of resistance. The Kelveri fleet spread out above Earth and began firing. Massive energy beams struck military bases around the world. Explosions lit up the night sky over bases in North America, Europe, and Asia. But strangely, the damage reports showed minimal casualties. "Commander," Vextra said, confusion in her voice, "these bases appear to be mostly empty. Our scans show the humans have moved their forces underground." Zarthak slammed his fist on a control panel. "They anticipated our attacks. How is this possible?" "We need to establish a ground presence," suggested War Master Cruel, the leader of the Kelveri ground forces. "Let me take a division to secure a foothold. We will start with this city." He pointed to Denver on the map. Zarthak nodded. "Go. Bring me prisoners for questioning." Kroll's ships descended toward the outskirts of Denver. The landing was smooth, with no immediate resistance. 600 Kelveri troops, each standing 7 feet tall and covered in armor, began to set up a base. They expected little trouble from the primitive humans. They were wrong. Former Marine Sean Miller watched the aliens through binoculars from his position in the hills. Beside him, Sheriff Kate Rodriguez checked her weapon. "How many?" she asked. "About 600, Sean replied. "Big ones, heavily armed." Kate nodded and spoke into her radio. "All units in position. Remember the plan. Hit and run. Don't engage directly." All around the alien landing site, small groups of human fighters waited. They were a mix of military, police, and ordinary citizens who refused to surrender their home. The attack began with a series of explosions. Mines that had been quickly buried in the alien landing zone detonated, causing confusion. Then, shots rang out from multiple directions. "They're using primitive projectile weapons," a Kelveri soldier reported to War Master Cruel. "Ineffective against our armor." But the humans weren't aiming at the armor. They targeted joints, eye slits, and exposed technology. And they never stayed in one place long enough to be caught. Back on the moon, Dr. Powell made a breakthrough. "I figured it out," she told Colonel Bennett excitedly. "The Kelveri ships all connect to a central command frequency. If we can disrupt that signal, we might be able to temporarily disable their shields across the entire fleet." Bennett smiled for the first time in days. "Can you modify our prototype to do that?" "I need to speak with Jack and Olivia," she replied. "They have the equipment to make it work." In the Rocky Mountain facility, Jack and Olivia received Powell's new schematics. "This could work," Jack said, studying the designs, "but we'll need to build several transmitters and position them in orbit around Earth." "How quickly can we do it?" Olivia asked. Jack ran calculations on his computer. 3 days, maybe 4. "They might not give us that much time," Olivia warned. In space, Zarthak received disturbing news. War Master Cruel's ground forces were meeting heavy resistance in Denver. The humans were using hit-and-run tactics, striking quickly and then disappearing into underground tunnels or buildings. "They're not fighting like a military," Cruel reported, his voice tight with frustration. "They're fighting like pests that won't be squashed." "Hold your position," Zarthak ordered. "Reinforcements are coming." As he ended the transmission, Vextra approached with more unsettling news. "Commander, our intelligence on humans was seriously flawed. Their technological capability is advancing rapidly, and they seem to fight more effectively when cornered." Zarthak stared at the beautiful blue planet below. 17 worlds had fallen easily to the Kelveri Dominion. Why was this one different? "These humans," he murmured, "they have capabilities we did not anticipate." For the first time in his conquest career, Commander Zarthak felt something he had never experienced before: respect for an enemy. Jack Harlow hadn't slept in 3 days. His eyes were red, and empty coffee cups surrounded his workstation. Beside him, Olivia Mitchell made final adjustments to a device that looked like a small satellite. "Is it ready?" she asked, tightening the last screw on the quantum field generator. Jack ran a final diagnostic test. Power output stable. Frequency aligned. He looked up with a tired smile. "It's ready." "How many do we have now?" Olivia asked. 7, Jack replied. The minimum we need for global coverage. They had built a network of quantum field generators that could disrupt Kelvary technology when activated. Now they just needed to get them into orbit. Above Earth, Zarthak prepared for a major assault on the east coast of the United States. His ships moved into position, weapons charged and ready. "Begin the attack in 3 minutes," he ordered. "This time, show no mercy." But before the attack could begin, 7 small rockets launched from different locations around Earth. Each carried one of Jack and Olivia's devices. "Commander," Vextra called out in alarm. "The humans are launching missiles." Zarthak watched the small rockets with confusion. "Those are too small to damage our ships. What are they doing?" The rockets didn't approach the Kelvary fleet. Instead, they deployed in a pattern around Earth, each releasing a small satellite. "Scan those devices," Zarthak ordered. Before the scans could complete, Jack Harlow sent the activation signal from his underground lab. All 7 quantum field generators activated at once. Aboard Zarthak's ship, systems began to fail. Lights flickered, weapons powered down, and shield generators whined as they struggled to function. "What is happening?" Zarthak demanded, watching in horror as his mighty warships became vulnerable. In orbit nearby, Admiral William Carter led a fleet of hastily armed vessels. They were a mix of military ships and converted civilian craft, all equipped with weapons designed by Dr. Powell. "All ships, attack now," Carter ordered. "Target their engine sections while their shields are down." The human ships swarmed the disabled Kelvary fleet. Without their shields and weapons, the alien vessels were suddenly vulnerable. Explosions bloomed across space as the humans struck with everything they had. On the ground near Denver, Sean Miller and Kate Rodriguez saw the Kelvary soldiers' weapons and communication devices start to malfunction. They seized the opportunity. "All units, move in now," Sean called over the radio. "Their tech is down." The human fighters attacked from all sides. War Master Krull tried to organize a defense, but without their advanced weapons, the Kelvary were forced to fight hand-to-hand. They were strong, but outnumbered. "Retreat," Krull finally ordered. "Back to the ships." But many Kelvary couldn't escape. Sean and Kate's forces captured dozens of alien soldiers. Kate approached one of the prisoners, a Kelvary officer who had been knocked unconscious. "Get them secure and bring them in for questioning. Treat them properly. They're prisoners of war now." In space, Admiral Carter's fleet had disabled or destroyed over 1/3 of the Kelvary ships. It was an unprecedented defeat for the invaders. On his command ship, Zarthak made a difficult decision. "Order all ships to move beyond the range of the human devices. We need to regroup." Vextra stared in disbelief. "Commander, are you ordering a retreat?" "A tactical repositioning," Zarthak corrected, though he knew it was essentially the same thing. He had never retreated in his entire career. "We underestimated them. We need a new strategy." As the Kelvary fleet pulled back to the far side of the moon, humans across Earth celebrated their first major victory. In the Rocky Mountain facility, Jack and Olivia watched the fleet retreat on their monitors. "It worked," Olivia whispered, hardly believing it. Jack nodded, finally allowing himself to feel hope. "It worked, but they'll be back. This is just the beginning." For the first time since the invasion began, the tide had turned. Humans had proven that they would not be conquered easily, if at all. Commander Zarthak studied the battle recordings for the 5th time. His fleet had hidden behind the moon, out of range of the human disruption devices. He had lost nearly 1/3 of his ships, something that had never happened in any previous conquest. "I don't understand their tactics," he said to his advisors. "When we attacked their military bases, they had already evacuated. They knew what we would target." "They are unpredictable," Vextra agreed. "And they don't retreat when they should." In the Denver battle, human fighters continued attacking even when they were clearly outmatched. Zarthak nodded slowly. They were buying time for others to escape. They sacrificed themselves. This concept was alien to Kelvary military thinking, where preservation of forces was paramount. We need a new approach, he decided. Find me a small, isolated settlement. We will take hostages and force the humans to negotiate. Kelveri scouts identified a farming community in the central United States, far from major cities. It looked defenseless, just the leverage Zarthak needed. In the small town of Riverdale, farmers Andy and George Thompson were checking the irrigation system when they saw the 3 Kelveri ships approaching. Go warn everyone, Andy told his brother. I'll try to slow them down. George ran toward town while Andy pulled out his phone. He sent a quick message to the defense network before the alien ships landed. 30 Kelveri soldiers, led by an officer named Dren, marched into town. They expected no resistance from simple farmers. Gather all humans, Dren ordered. We are taking control of this settlement. But the farmers of Riverdale had been preparing. Within minutes, modified farm equipment roared to life. Tractors with reinforced fronts charged the alien soldiers. Crop dusters dropped chemicals that stuck to Kelveri armor and hardened, limiting their movement. Andy led a group driving harvesting machines that had been fitted with scrap metal shields. George had organized others with hunting rifles and homemade explosives. The Kelveri were taken completely by surprise. They had superior weapons, but the farmers knew the land and used it to their advantage. They attacked from multiple directions, never staying still long enough to be targeted. By the time reinforcements arrived, the farmers had captured most of the Kelveri soldiers, including Dren. When Zarthak received news of the failed operation, he couldn't believe it. Farmers, with farm equipment, he asked in disbelief, against trained Kelveri soldiers. Yes, Commander, the messenger confirmed. They used their knowledge of the terrain and improvised weapons. Zarthak stood at his viewing window, staring at Earth. What is it about these humans? He wondered aloud. Meanwhile, on the moon base, Dr. Powell was having a breakthrough of a different kind. With help from Lisa Summers, she had established communication with several alien species previously conquered by the Kelveri. The Kelveri have a strict hierarchy, explained Tisin, a member of the Jorian species from a distant system. They follow orders without question, but this makes them inflexible. And they don't understand sacrifice, added another alien named Creel. In their culture, dying for others is seen as wasteful, not honorable. Powell shared this information with Earth's defense leaders. We need to use what makes us human against them, she explained. Our creativity, our willingness to sacrifice for others, our adaptability. Admiral Carter nodded in agreement. We've seen it already. Every time they think they understand us, we do something they don't expect. Back on his ship, Zarthak came to a similar realization. Their strength isn't just technology, he told Vextra. It's their spirit. They fight harder when threatened. They adapt faster than we can. And they don't follow predicted patterns. For the first time, Zarthak considered a disturbing thought. What if the Kelveri Dominion couldn't win this war? What if humans were simply unconquerable? He had conquered 17 worlds, but Earth was different. The humans were different. And slowly, Zarthak was beginning to understand what made them so dangerous. Their unbreakable will to survive, no matter the odds. News of human resistance spread across the stars. On planets conquered by the Kelveri, whispers of Earth's defiance gave hope to those who had lost it. Small rebellions began on worlds that had been under Kelveri control for generations. Zarthak received the reports with growing concern. 3 uprisings in the last week, he told his officers, all inspired by stories of Earth. The Dominion High Command is aware of the situation, Vextra said. Her tone was neutral, but Zarthak noticed she wouldn't meet his eyes. They expect you to resolve it quickly. Zarthak understood the unspoken message. Failure was not tolerated in the Dominion. If he couldn't conquer Earth, he would face execution upon his return. Prepare a new attack plan, he ordered. We will target their quantum field generators first, then launch a full assault. Later, alone in his quarters, Zarthak reviewed the human prisoners' interrogation records. Unlike other species, humans rarely begged for mercy. Even in captivity, they remained defiant, often attempting escape. Their loyalty to each other was particularly notable. A soft beep from his communication panel interrupted his thoughts. The message was encoded for his eyes only. It was from the Dominion High Command, but addressed to Vextra, not him. Sub-Commander Vextra, we have received your reports about Commander Zarthak's failures. Your loyalty to the Dominion is noted. Continue monitoring the situation. If Zarthak shows further weakness, you are authorized to assume command. The human resistance must be crushed at any cost. Zarthak sat back, his 4 eyes blinking slowly. Betrayal was not unexpected in Kelveri culture. Ambition was rewarded, but the timing was problematic. He needed to act quickly. On Earth, Admiral Carter received an unexpected message. It came through an encrypted channel directly to Earth's defense headquarters. This is Commander Zarthak of the Kelveri Dominion. I wish to speak privately with Earth leadership. It concerns matters of mutual survival. Carter assembled a small team including Lisa Summers and Lieutenant Diane Fletcher, leader of Earth's Special Operations Forces. They agreed to a meeting on neutral ground, a small station in orbit around Mars. Diane's team secured the station first, checking for traps. Zarthak arrived with only 2 guards. Why should we trust anything you say? Carter asked when they were seated. Zarthak placed a data device on the table. Because I bring information vital to your survival, and because my own situation has become complicated. He explained that Vextra was planning to overthrow him, and then launch a full-scale attack on Earth with no regard for casualties, hers or Earth's. The Dominion considers me a failure for not conquering your world immediately, Zarthak said. I am now as much a target as you are. What exactly are you proposing? Lisa asked carefully. An alliance, Zarthak replied. I can provide complete data on Kelveri ship weaknesses, weapon systems, and battle tactics. In exchange, I seek asylum. Carter looked skeptical. You've killed thousands of our people. Why would we help you? Because thousands will become millions if Vextra takes command, Zarthak said simply. And because I now understand something the Dominion does not. Humans cannot be conquered through force. It would be a waste of life to continue trying. The humans exchanged glances. We need to verify his information, Diane said quietly. And if it's genuine? Asked Lisa. Carter looked directly at Zarthak. If your information helps us defend Earth, we'll consider asylum. But you'll answer for your actions eventually. Zarthak nodded. I expect nothing less, but we must act quickly. Vextra has contacted support ships from the Dominion fleet. They will arrive within days. As they prepared to return to their respective ships, Lisa asked one final question. Why the change of heart, Commander? You've conquered 17 worlds before us. Zarthak looked at Earth, visible as a small blue dot from the station's window. Because in all my years of conquest, I've never encountered a species willing to risk everything for freedom. It's admirable. Earth prepared for the final confrontation. With Zarthak's information, they knew exactly what they were facing. Vextra will attack in 3 waves, Zarthak explained to the War Council. He stood tall among the human leaders, a strange sight that would have been unthinkable days ago. Her first wave will target your quantum field generators. The second will hit major cities. The third will be ground troops to secure what remains. How do we stop them? Asked Admiral Carter. Colonel Bennett pointed to a holographic display of the Kelveri flagship. Zarthak has identified their central command module. It contains the operational data for the entire fleet. If we can capture it, we can use their own systems against them. Dr. Powell nodded in agreement. We've developed a virus that can disable their ships, but we need to upload it directly to their command system. It would require a direct assault on the flagship, Lieutenant Diane Fletcher said. A small team could get in while our fleet draws their fire. Jack and Olivia had been working day and night on a new device. We've modified our quantum field generators, Jack explained. The new version can create a localized disruption field around a single ship without affecting others. This would give our strike team a window to board the flagship, Olivia added. The plan was set. The future of Earth would be decided in the next 24 hours. As predicted, Vextra's fleet arrived and immediately targeted the quantum field generators. But the humans were ready. They had created decoys, and the real generators were hidden behind the moon. The Earth fleet, led by Admiral Carter, engaged the Kelveri ships. They were outnumbered, but they fought with determination. Colonel Bennett led the strike team that included Lieutenant Fletcher and 2 of Earth's best soldiers. Zarthak went with them. Only he could navigate the flagship's security systems. Their small ship approached the massive Kelveri flagship, cloaked by Jack and Olivia's technology. They landed in a secondary hangar while the battle raged around them. "This way," Zarthak directed, leading them through corridors he knew well. They encountered resistance, but Zarthak's knowledge of Kelveri tactics gave them the advantage. Finally, they reached the command module. While Bennett's team secured the area, Dr. Powell guided them remotely to upload the virus. "It's working," Bennett reported as Kelveri systems began to shut down across the fleet. "Their weapons are offline." Vextra herself burst into the command center, rage in her 4 eyes. "Traitor!" she screamed at Zarthak. What followed was a fierce battle, but the combined skills of the human team and Zarthak proved too much for Vextra and her guards. In the end, Vextra lay defeated, and the command module was secure. As the remaining Kelveri ships retreated from Earth, Zarthak recorded a final message to be sent to the Dominion High Command. "This is Commander Zarthak, with an urgent warning to all Kelveri forces," he began. "Earth must not be engaged again. Humans are unlike any species we have encountered. They are unpredictable, innovative, and possess something we cannot defeat, an unbreakable spirit." He paused, looking at the humans who had once been his enemies. "I have seen them fight when logic says they should surrender. I have seen them sacrifice themselves for others without hesitation. I have seen farmers defeat trained soldiers through creativity and determination." His voice grew stronger. "The Dominion cannot win this war. Seek peace with Earth or face defeat. This is my final warning. Never underestimate the humans." 3 months later, Zarthak stood on a platform beside Admiral Carter, watching Earth's first interstellar defense fleet prepare for launch. Built with a combination of human innovation and Kelveri technology, these ships would ensure Earth's safety. As the ships rose into the sky, Zarthak understood that he had witnessed the birth of a new galactic power, one that would never again be underestimated.